Right. We should be live.
Let me check real quick.
Yeah, we should probably check that out. I think that page pulled up.
Questions Ammo episode 2. Yeah, looks like it.
All right.
I'm just gonna drink coffee.
Good deal.
Videos. It's weird I'm not getting it on my feed, but I believe you.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Okay, cool. All right. Welcome to Questions and Ammo Live, episode 2. The first episode you did, if you guys saw that one, was where we brought a couple guys on from Japan to discuss what airsofting is like in Japan, or how, if you were in Japan or were going to Japan, how you would go about playing airsoft there. We went over some regulations and stuff on how to get airsoft guns to and from Japan, or even if you could do that for that matter, and had a good time with that, and we got a pretty good response back from the community. So
lots of good questions, and we answered a lot of questions that were kind of bugging people about just specific things with the sport and how it runs over there.
Right.
And we're also, like I said, working on team building and community building, so we're trying to get the sport growing in both America and internationally. So I think it's working. I think it's doing pretty well.
Yep, it's going well. So we figured this time we don't have any special guests today. It's just going to be us three, so you got to stick with us boring 3 people. So I'm still trying to figure out how to make this
I don't know what anyone else is saying.
Yeah. If I can get access to the stream, we could look at some live comments, but I'm still trying to figure out. We'll figure that out in a second. Let's see. Why won't it show up? I don't know. That's
as you can tell, we're pretty new to
we're new to this,
and we're still working some small bugs, but I mean, for the most part, it's doing pretty well.
It's going okay. We're still functioning. We're just high functioning idiots.
I mean, it's a lot better than that live PD type live stream we tried from Chechen Collapse. That didn't go well.
It had a lot of potential. But the cell phone service out there, I think,
it was so bad. Like, people that wasn't our most disliked video, surprisingly enough. Our most disliked video was when I did a how-to tutorial on how to spray paint a helmet, and that video is almost like...
Well, spray painting a helmet is so vague.
No.
Your modification.
They didn't like the fact that there was nothing wrong with the process of spray painting the helmet. It was a little amateurish. I could have done it better based upon, like, you know, the standards of how we do videos now. But the video was flashing the entire time because my camera messed up or something like that. So it's just like strobing, and it might have gave people seizures. I don't know. All right, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Hello, how's it going, guys? We got, like, let's see how many people we got in here right now. I think we got about 10, 11 people in here right now. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Big numbers.
Special shout out to I Like Bullpups, the Green Baka, Golden Dragon, JSK Outdoors. You guys doing all right?
Good deal. And hey, let's roll into some questions here.
Yeah, sure. Before we begin, though, just for our guys showing up, if you guys have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the feed, and we're gonna do a hybrid of questions we've gotten out just to get the pre-written out just to get the ball rolling, and then we'll check out some of the live feed questions as well. So go ahead and leave some questions you would like. We don't really have a specific topic, just any question you'd like answered in general, gun related.
Yeah. Honestly, we'll get off on a rabbit trail and chase that for a long time, most likely.
Yeah, so, you know, just ask some questions, anything you'd like answered in particular in the comment section. We're going to go answer some written questions real quick while you guys are getting your live questions in. So, Daniel, what's the first question you had for us?
Okay, so Killstreak Gaming, pretty simple. What camera do you use?
Camera would we use for airsoft gameplay, yeah? Okay.
I would assume so.
I would just set up my live streaming camera, so I didn't know if we use
plenty of cameras. Actually.
We use a lot.
A lot of cameras. For gameplay, we use GoPro Hero 5, right? Is it the black or the silver? Or
I think it's the gray, black. It's not black. It's just gray. I don't know. It's just the regular version. We used contour cameras for the longest time, and I loved contour cameras. We started this channel out on the Roam 1 version, Contour Roam 1. Then we moved into the Contour Roam 2, which has a higher resolution, better frames, I think. It's just some better stuff. It's just a better overall camera. And what we really liked about the Contour cameras was they just, and Nick will tell you all about this, is you just had that simple flick on, flick off switch. And I don't know any data on this, but this is just me going off my personal experience with them. I swear to you, they had better battery life than the GoPros. Like, the GoPros, I'm constantly just changing out batteries.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I played with them for the first time when we were in Japan, and like the contours would last almost all day, it felt like. But I guess there might not be as much draw on the contours because the contour was literally just a camera recording to a memory device drawing from the battery, as
Yeah.
opposed to GoPros, which have Wi-Fi. You can watch their own screen, like all kinds of stuff. So I can see why that is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had to move away from the contours because the camera quality just couldn't keep up with GoPro. Like, GoPro's just going. Like, they're already on the 7 now, I think. They might be even higher than that. I can't keep track. And I think GoPro actually Contour actually went under, so I don't even know if they're making cameras anymore. They actually had an Instagram post a little while ago saying they're going to do the next generation of Contour camera, which I was really excited for. I was like, I'd gladly get that and just try it out, because it was saying that it'll have like settings similar to the Hero 5 GoPro. And I was like, okay, well, if it's got the same settings, I'll just go back to that easy flick on, flick off switch. But I haven't heard, I think that was like a year and a half ago. I haven't heard anything back from that. So,
and the GoPros, the way that we mount them, I used to not like GoPros, right? Because they would mount way up over your head, and they look crazy, and your gun would be like way down here like this, like the old like Call of Duty games and stuff, and it just got annoying with that kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons we like the contours, because they were more in line with your eye and your shooting eye if you're right-handed, and so when you would aim up on the sights, it looked really correct. But the issue that I had all the time is then pulling on one side of your helmet, and so your helmet's constantly doing this thing while you're playing, and that got really annoying. With the GoPros, they mount closer to your forehead now, kind of like NVGs, and they're centered.
The brain exploder mount really changed the game on that.
Yeah.
Like he made hat mounts, the boonie hat mounts, he made helmet mounts, and he made just like regular baseball cap mounts. And those, in my opinion, really changed the game, because like you said, you'd have to, like, a lot of people were doing, like, they would glue like mounts in the NVG mount, and that was just a terrible system, but it worked out ultimately, and now GoPro's really taken off. All right, that was a good question. Let's go ahead to the live stream. We already got some questions rolling in. Someone saying laundry basket. I don't know what that means. Okay. Sup, y'all. All right, this is a good one. What's
Mine's
the
over there? So
Golden Dragon wants to know what the purpose of life is. Let us know when you know, and we'll answer that for you, because we don't know either.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet either.
What are you pointing at, Nick?
Life is airsoft.
Yeah, that's accurate. What's your favorite gun? That's a good question. Oh, actually, I say F space Barry, or just F Barry wants to know what's your favorite gun. Nick, we'll start with you because you have an answer.
Real firearm and airsoft. Go.
Yeah, just real or airsoft?
Let's do both. Why not?
Okay, airsoft, AKs. I love my AKs. I like my LCT, even though it's broken right now. I still like it.
Isn't that ironic that the SEMAs are running better than the LCTs right now?
Yeah, I haven't had a SEMA go down yet. The LCT lasted like half an MSW game, and that was the end of that.
I had great experiences with my LCT. I think
it's weird because we have the exact same gun too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I don't know. But anyways, that one's broken down right now, but it's still my favorite just because of how heavy and just it's not lightweight like the SEMAs. Yeah, it's pretty substantial.
It doesn't feel hollow and like
no.
Yeah.
No.
Those things are heavy.
The stock could use a little bit of work, but the rest of the gun is solid.
So I mean, they're great for that price.
For beginners and just people who just like want something that runs, SEMA's great. And then if you really feel like it's a really hardcore kind of fanatic, like goes to Milsim West all the time, LCT is like a pretty good option to look into if you got the money to swing. What about you, Daniel?
So my favorite real firearm is, and Nick didn't, or are we doing an airsoft and then real later?
Just do real and then airsoft.
Okay. My real favorite firearm is a Remington 1914 pump action rifle and 35 caliber Remington, because that is my favorite of my own personal collection. It's a very
obscure gun. People probably won't know what that is.
Most people have never heard of it. They were limited. They were limited production. Again, 1914, so they're over 100 years old right now. But they're super cool rifles. They kick like a horse. Or mule. Is that how the saying goes?
It's the same. Kicks like a mule, I think, is the standard saying.
Like a dog, like a something. But that's my favorite real firearm. Airsoft wise, it'll probably still be my M4 that's sitting over here.
That at Knight's Arm and SR, right?
The one that, the SPRA, the one that I found in the closet.
Cool. It's such a weird story. He finds his airsoft gun that he's been using to this day in the closet of his new house he moved into.
It's kind of like an intro story to a movie.
Yeah. It's like, and from that day forth, he became an airsoft player. Oh, yeah, Nick, we didn't get your favorite firearm. I just realized that your real airsoft gun, sorry.
Oh,
your favorite one.
Real steel. Uh,
Oh yeah, real steel. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
that's tough. I like all guns equally.
Don't
I'm just
discriminate.
gonna be basic and say the AR-15.
Yeah,
That's just the one I have the most fun with.
you can't go
So
wrong with it. You really can't.
you really can't. No,
Anyway,
there's so many different. What's the way to say this? Configurations. There's so many different things that still count as an AR-15, and you could still play with it, and it's awesome.
right.
Mhm.
For me, real steel. I have to agree with Nick. AR-15 M4 platform. Like I used to love scars, and I still love scars, but unfortunately with the scar, I think it's a little bulky for me personally. I've used it in airsoft, and it's a little cumbersome. It's not as comfortable for me to use. Like with an M4 carbine or like a rifle, like they're technically the same thing, but like the longer version of an AR M4 platform.
Yeah, not to
They
mention
just
the price tag on a scar is a little bit of a
a
turn
real
off.
one, yeah, real one's like $3,000.
But I think if I could afford a Scar H, I think I would really enjoy that.
Favorite airsoft gun though would have to be my clone probably of my actual AR-15 that I made. I haven't shown that. I'm gonna make a video on that, but it's super cool. I actually cloned my real steel AR-15.
Is it 1-1?
It's almost a 1-to-1. There's some parts on it that they don't make airsoft in like real steel variants of, but it's super close. I'll have to make a video on it. It's pretty cool. That was a good question. All right, let's see what else we got on here. Let's see. This one's interesting. I'm just gonna answer this one real quick. 3D printed airsoft guns. This comes from I can't even say Yo Must Die, I guess 94. Asks 3D printed airsoft guns. Where do you see them going? That's a good question because that's very strange. I think 3D printing is the future of a lot of materials and stuff because I have a 3D printer up here.
Modifications for sure.
This is pretty cool. I should show you this. This is a 1-to-1 Barrett 50 cal. It's a 50 BMG, and it's a cutaway I did. So I did the casing. I did a cutaway of the casing, so it's like a 50-50. If you could here's the camera. It's a 50-50 cutaway. I have the projectile, which is a cutaway as well. It kind of shows you that it's just solid. There's no real purpose for it. I just thought it looked cool. And I also have the primer in the bottom, and I just took all those pieces off. I printed them separately, and then I just glued them together. And it's kind of cool. I don't know if the camera focuses well on that, but
Nice.
So anyway,
That is
3D
pretty
printing. 3D printing, I think, is the future. Now, here's the thing they've been having problems with when you're 3D printing parts for airsoft guns or real guns is there's a lot of force and a lot of strength required for a lot of these components in order for a gun like that to function correctly. So, for example, on a real gun, you have the barrel, which encases all that force. So you cannot 3D print an AR-15 barrel, for example. However, you can 3D print a AR-15 lower receiver. Now, the technology on that right now is kind of finicky. Like it works in theory, doesn't really work in principle, because when you print it off, the dimensions aren't exactly 1-to-1.
You can 3D print 22 long rifle barrels.
You can?
You can. It's been done.
There's a gun called the Liberator that some dude made. I forget his name. That's a
9mm, isn't it?
No, it's a 380 ACP and a 22 caliber, and it's actually a 3D printed gun. But it still needs. But the thing is, even if it's like specifically designed to be 3D printed, it still needs like a metal piece as the firing pin to work. Now, in terms of airsoft guns, you don't have to work with that bullet explosion, so that's really good. But you still have to have the metal gearbox, presumably, and some of those gears and stuff I don't think could hold up to it. So I think, in theory, you could actually 3D print the upper receiver, lower receiver, probably not the stock extension, the receiver extension if we're talking
I
about
would say
M4.
80% of the airsoft gun.
You could do a lot on the airsoft gun. I don't think the technology we have right now is good enough to do like a full airsoft gun, but you could probably 3D print a lot of the components. I mean, look, Brain Exploder made a mount just out of like that super high-quality plastic. I don't know what it's called.
But the applications are only increasing for 3D printing, for airsoft especially. I have a lot of friends who play currently with modifications that they've done to their airsoft guns solely with 3D printing. For example, you know those, they're the H&K, not the USP, the Mark 23s. You know they have the non-blowback ones that are really quiet and they work off green gas. My buddies have made suppressors for them out of 3D printed materials that just really dampen the sound and make it much quieter. So that's an application. I know people that have made like certain sling mounts and all kinds of things. So
I know we 3D printed. It was either Matt or Christian 3D printed the mounts for the GoPros, and we mounted them on the Russian helmets for NSW, which came in handy.
yeah, that we didn't have a way to mount it.
We didn't have it quite right. So yeah, 3D printing saved us for one event in particular for filming. I mean, that's not a gun, but close enough.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I like that. That's a really good hypothetical. Okay. I can't say this on stream because it's not family friendly. But if Daniel's looking at the live stream feed, it's pretty funny. I like bullpups. First of all, I need you to walk me through the situation right now. Is it stuck in the door or is it stuck underneath the plate that's revolving around it? If so, I would call maybe some additional services to help you out with that because that seems like someone you need a few extra hands for. But what do I know?
Yeah, I can't see the live stream, so this is confusing me, but that's okay.
So somebody got some member stuck in a microwave. Apparently, he's informing me, and he says it's starting to hurt. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how is that our problem?
I would not do any drastic movements. I would
shut the door. I would shut the door fully and turn it on.
Something tells me Daniel's had experience in this.
I can't say I've had experience in it, but I am always happy to lend my advice.
So you can take
glad
my
to help.
advice. You can take my advice and just like maybe call for help. Get some, just be careful. Don't make any drastic movements. Or you could microwave it, as Daniel suggests.
I mean, honestly, at this point, it's a science experiment. We'd all like to see where this is going. So
I personally do not want to see where this is going, but you can do a written report.
Okay. Another question. This is a good one. Skeles, Skeles, asks, what are some of the most common mistakes beginners make in Airsoft?
So let's attack this in a few different facets. Gameplay, gear, and what's another one?
Gameplay, gear, and I think mentality would be a good one.
Mentality?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's go gear-wise. And I think we've all been through this process. We've all been playing for probably about 10 years. Mm-hmm. And when you get into the sport, you buy gear that's super cheap. It's terrible gear, and then you have to replace it with something else. And then that one ends up being kind of okay, and then you want to replace it with something else. Basically, the poor man always buys twice. So it's good to do your research, save money, and get good equipment first.
I would just add a caveat to that. Yes, buy high quality equipment, but don't overspend on it. Don't go out and buy a Cry JPC as your first plate carrier, okay? Because
I don't even own one of those.
Yeah,
and
so
I don't think anyone else did.
While Daniel said is go online, we actually have a video. It's called How to Start Airsoft or How to Begin Airsoft. It'll tell you a lot of good information on how to go about purchasing different types of gear. It'll give you kind of like a little rough lay of the land in terms of what type of equipment you have available to you or what you should purchase. But I think the key rule of thumb here is buy something that's a good entry level piece of equipment. So for example, like those cross draw vests, those are really good. Like those will last you. They're pretty high quality, but make sure you get them from a reputable manufacturer. You don't want to get them from like some low end one, but do a little research, find out which one you like, and then just don't spend all your money on it. Just go entry level and then build up from there. In terms of mentality, a lot of things I see from beginner airsoft players are they're very scared of getting hit with BBs, and you kind of it's going to be a reaction everyone's going to get. But one of the things I recommend to beginners is don't sit in the back the entire time, because a lot of times we'll just see them sitting in the back just lobbing BBs over.
Because then you won't know if you hit anyone. You'll get dissuaded. Mm-hmm. You'll be like, "Is this really fun?" You got to get out there and actually push. You really just got to take the jump on it and then just go up there and like just run up. If you're scared like to go by yourself, that's perfectly fine. I understand it. Go up with some teammates, like link up with some teammates of yours, and then just move up together. Maybe introduce yourself, talk to some other people. In my experience, people in Airsoft on the field are extremely friendly and they're extremely accommodating. So if you're like, hey, I'm new to this, can you show me out, show me what to do, where to go? I'm like, yeah, sure, come on, over here, follow me. And then you just link up with them, and then you kind of just mimic what they're doing or follow what they're doing. Like kind of try to follow along with some of the more advanced players. Try to like get yourself more involved in the action. You'll have a lot more fun that way, and it won't be as boring for you. Because I think a lot of things, like a lot of new players get into it, they try it, and they're like, yeah, well, I just sat in the back. It wasn't that fun. Like try to put yourself in the game. Try to put yourself in the action a little more. I promise it'll be 100% better for you. What was the other question you said? Gear, mentality, and what was the other one you said? Location to play at?
I don't think that's what we said, but
something.
We all have short attention spans, but one thing I do want to say is I'm sure Daniel and I could both attest to this. I know Daniel doesn't care, but I do. Wear lower face, pro. Both Daniel and I have lost teeth. So
I used to not care even after I lost a tooth, but now I'm on my third root canal with this tooth. So 3 surgeries later.
Nick, you want to show him that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the nerve underneath it? It's like there's
it's actually the bracket from my retainer. The permanent retainer is still back there. But that's the one that happened like 2 years ago at a game.
It was a Wasteland Ops game.
I took that. Well, yeah, it was Wasteland Ops. Don't want to call any fields out because they actually were pretty cool about it. But just wear lower. Wear a good lower face pro and don't cheap on eye pro.
Yeah.
Because you can replace a tooth, even though it might come out again. Like this one just broke off again like 2 days ago. But you can't replace an eye. So don't cheap out on your face pro. Period.
Yeah. And if you're like me and you still really just don't like lower face pro in a lot of applications, pick and choose your battles. Like they'll notice, or if you look in the gameplay in CQB over in Japan, I wore lower face pro the entire time because it's close quarters. Anytime you're going to be in a close quarters environment, it's good to wear. If you're not going to be exposing yourself, like say you're sniping and you're not going to be exposing yourself to the enemy a lot, you're probably okay. But there's still a risk there. So
yeah. I mean, especially if you're playing CQB, definitely wear lower face pro or wear like a full face mask. Again, all this is kind of covered in that how to start Airsoft video. It's a great watch if you haven't already and you're looking to get into the sport. I'd highly recommend it. But if you're playing CQB or you're just starting out, as Nick just said, definitely wear full face protection. And then if it's something after you've played a while and then you've decided, this isn't really something I'm concerned about, or maybe you just don't get shot in the face that often, then maybe you could say, okay, maybe ditch the lower face pro. But I still wear lower face pro, and I haven't had a problem. You two have both lost teeth, so that's just something to be said for that. Anyway, that was a good question.
El Chinto has a question here. He says, "Yo, I want to try to play Airsoft, but I don't know if it's safe or not."
Okay, it's absolutely
just went over that.
It's absolutely
for the majority of applications, it's perfectly safe.
Yes.
The only time you will ever you choose how much danger you want to put yourself in.
That's a good way to put it. Like you can, because you decide where
you go,
what you do. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut over you.
Yeah, no. If you want to throw yourself off of a building for some reason,
which people have done before.
Yeah.
There's that one.
If you use common sense, you're not going to get hurt.
I think it was at Iron Horse 1. Someone fell out of like one of the upper windows. It was like a second floor window, and they fell out of it. I think.
And then there's also like this is done top 10 videos, and it's like top 10 craziest aircraft. He's firing through a scope on a bolt action rifle, and he's walking backwards to avoid fire, and walks right off the back of a 2-story roof.
Yeah,
that one probably hurt a little bit.
I shouldn't be laughing.
It was good. Now, I've played ice hockey, just to put things in perspective, and I've broken 2 bones doing that, ice hockey, and that's like a mainstream accepted sport. Airsoft is considered like more of a fringe thing, and I've never had like any major injuries doing that, like knock on wood. But I think the worst I've ever had is like my arm got lit up by fire ants one time because I shoved it into a log. I was like propping myself up on, and then all of a sudden like my arm's really starting to burn, and it's just covered in red ants. So that's the one thing I will say is if you have any like allergic reactions to like spiders or bugs or ants especially, and just be really careful about that, because when you play out in like outdoor conditions and stuff, that is something you need to take into consideration, because you're definitely doing out more in the jungle, like especially like DV8 in places we play it. Your results may vary depending on where you are and where you're playing, but if you're playing indoor CQB, there's really not much. Maybe just don't slide and crash into anything.
In Florida, you got to worry about ants and stuff. In Alaska, we had a run-in with a bear once, so
we have gators down here in Florida. We dealt with on a couple of occasions.
They found a gator at DV8, didn't they?
They found gators at I think all the fields I've played at down here.
They did tap, and they
one
did
may not have been shot. But
you gotta get that off the property.
Hey, technically, you're not supposed to say that, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I didn't do it, so
it was not any of our favorite fields that did that.
No. Let's see. What else do we have here? What is your fun? Okay, I like this one. Lane E asks, "What is your funniest fail, you or friend?" I think like, what's our personal funniest fail? He's asking. I already know mine.
Falling fails are usually the biggest, I would say.
I have
so many.
If you haven't seen our funny moments and fails playlist, there's a playlist online. Just go watch through that and have fun with it. It's ridiculous just how much like crap like we'll get into. It's nuts. Do you guys know yours? I know mine.
I fragged myself a couple times.
I think fragging yourself is pretty funny. There's this
one. I
Oh,
was mocking them. I was mocking the tan team through the window of the prison because they obviously couldn't shoot me through that like plexiglass, and then they ended up fragging me
I saw
like
that.
8 times.
That was an Overwatch episode. Yeah, they threw a grenade around the
And they
corner.
did it specifically because I was mocking them, which I probably deserved. But yeah,
you did deserve.
There was one. It was at Overwatch 3, I think. I had a Thunder Bee, and I came up to this door. Everyone knows this one. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It went viral.
Airsoft GI reposted this on their page, I think. It was hilarious. They just took a little snippet. I threw a Thunder Bee at this little hole in the wall. I don't remember if it was a window. I think it was a window. It was like a little vertical window. I tried to throw the grenade through it. I zoomed in on it, and it just hit the edge of it, and it fell on the ground, but it didn't go off yet. So I was like, oh, I'm still alive. So I picked it up. I tried to throw it back in there again. I hit the edge a second time, and then it landed on the ground. I just said I give up, and it blew up, and it killed me. And it was hilarious. And Snoopy was over there, and he was just laughing his butt off at my fail, and it was great. That was probably my biggest one.
Yeah, we got that on more than one camera, which was probably the best part of it. There's no hiding the fact that he screwed up.
Yeah,
twice.
Was hilarious. Grenades, like you think you could grenades was the easiest thing. Like, oh, you just throw them. It's no big deal. No, once that timer goes off, like you think like you see those fail videos like of the military guys trying to throw the grenade and it falls and they're like, oh, come on, what an idiot, you couldn't have done that. No, you don't understand. For something happens when that pin is pulled, like your ability just to throw a baseball just goes, I don't know where it went, and then you just don't know how to do it anymore. It's like you've never thrown anything in your life. It's the weirdest sensation. I don't understand it.
Gross motor skills, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's hilarious though.
What about you, Nick?
It's still grenades. I've done it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did it once at DV8, and that was with a pea grenade, one of the pyro grenades. So that one hurt when it went off.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Let's see. I did it. We were talking about this before the stream. He did, and that one's on camera.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this before the stream at the old Black Tiger. I missed a frag and wound up like Superman diving around a corner, and it went off behind me. That was funny. And that's also. It seems that every time we do something stupid, the cameras are running.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just stop filming.
I think the viewers like the fails, so we'll just have to expose ourselves to criticism a little bit more on that one. But
yeah, big surprise. We're really not that good at airsoft.
Yeah, we're not pros. Like when you see just awesome gameplay. Now, a lot of times when you see YouTubers just upload like it's just kill after kill after kill, or it's just awesome gameplay. It's lots of pick between stuff. There's a few people that just get amazing kill streaks and they're not edited and like. Yeah, good for you. But like a lot of times when you see those videos, it's just constantly edited and cut to make them look really good. But I mean,
our kill streaks include ourselves.
When I try to do videos, the only time I'll like cut anything out, whether it's a death or a kill, is if it's not interesting. Like I just upload what's interesting. So if I go on a really good kill streak and I die at the end, I will put that in there. But if I like just walk out in the middle of the field and like try to hunt somebody down and I just get shot, that probably won't make the final cut because nothing happened and it got boring. But I always put everything in there that I can.
You got to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And that's that comes down to. It's better to be have some interesting gameplay and keep people enthusiastic about it. So
cool.
But yeah.
All right.
Any more questions from the stream?
Yes, I do. We've got a lot of questions actually rolling in, so I got a couple more. We got a couple of viewers. I think this guy says hi from Russian, so I'm assuming he's from Russia. So Forstin, thank you for watching. Adam Dagan, hi from Israel. So we got some Russian and Israeli viewers here, unless they're assuming they're telling the truth, but I'm going to assume that they are. So shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. Let's see what else we got here. What's your favorite light machine gun? Asks Zachary Burgard. That's a good one.
Favorite light machine gun.
Favorite light machine gun.
PKM.
PKM. Those are fun.
PKMs are super cool.
A
Are we talking historically or things that we've actually had?
Favorite, borderline. I will say about the PKM, it's really cool. It's just an AK-47 piston set upside down. Like, it's literally just an AK upside down.
And
like the mechanics upside down. It's hilarious.
I think the coolest one, going back to, it probably stemmed from video games and also me being a history nerd, but the M1919, those are super cool.
The 1919
or any type of like two-man or three-man machine gun team crew-fed weapon. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
You got one person with a bipod, puts it down. At DV8, we had an M2 out there once, and there's a clip of me like holding it like this and like carrying it. It was so much fun. I got to use it a little bit.
I don't think that counts as a light machine gun anymore, though.
No,
I think an M2 is a heavy machine gun.
That's a heavy machine gun.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what's interesting though? Those things were made in World War II, maybe between World War I and World War II.
Actually.
World War I, yeah, and made by John Moses Browning, and we're still using those things in like almost the exact same configuration. Like there's modifications.
That comes down to like product and equipment theory. Like if something is at some point the best, we're still going to use it.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to replace it if it still is one of the best platforms.
I mean, think about it. We've been using the M16 since before Vietnam, and it's only just undergone like some minor changes to the interior.
We're on the M2 86. I think it's the 6th variant at this point.
Yeah, but
it's
how much?
The 4th, the 6th, or something.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, how much has it actually changed? Like the rail.
Actually, I would say quite a bit. Tooling processes got better. The way that your tolerances and everything, your adjustability.
Well, that always changed. I'm talking like core fundamental design, like fundamentally. How's it changed?
Fundamentally, it really hasn't.
Exactly. Yeah, it hasn't changed like at all. Like they changed, like maybe they made a little more ambidextrous. They made like they put some fencing around the mag release. They put some sling levels on it, rails. They removed the carry handle. That's about it. Adjustable stock, crane stock.
Yeah.
That was the
I'm not an
15,
11B,
I think.
so I'm sure some infantrymen can definitely tell us, but yeah, I mean they seem like a really.
Anyway, we're off track. We got off track.
There's that rabbit trail we said we were going to chase.
We hit it. There it is. My favorite one, I want to point this out. My favorite machine gun, light machine gun, MG42. I love that gun. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
That technically counts as light machine gun. Yeah.
I think
it's a man pourable, so I think it's good. It's like a 2 to 3 man.
So are M2s.
Yeah. What I love about that gun is, number one, it was iconic with that rate of fire. Like when you had our boys going up those beaches, during D-Day, and those things, like it was like they called it Hitler's buzzsaw. And just from an engineering standpoint, that thing was incredible. And then if you looked how it changed the barrel system, it had like this big lever on the side. You pull on it, and the hinge would just open up to the side. You take a casing, and you just pull the barrel out with your casing because it had a giant hole in the top of like the receiver, the barrel extension. I don't know what it's called. But you couldn't touch it, obviously, because it was so hot. So they had a little place you could put a cartridge in there, just rip the barrel out, take your new barrel, chuck it in there, and just slam the thing shut sideways. It's so cool how it's designed, and I love the looks of the thing. I don't know what it is they did with it, but like the ventilation ports and that stamped steel, it's so cool. Yeah. The MG34 was cool, too. It had like a binary trigger system where you could do a halfway pull on the trigger and it would do semi-auto. If you pulled it the rest of the way, it would do full auto, kind of like on a P90.
The Germans were really innovative.
Yeah, they really were. A lot of the stuff they made was incredible in terms of
some of it was overcomplicated too, and you'll see that a lot with like the tanks.
Prime example is the Tiger tank, because in order to decrease, I think it's increased the displacement, so increase the area in which the weight is put onto the ground. They overlap the wheels, so you get more area, so it wouldn't sink down, right? And then, but the problem is, like from an engineering standpoint, great idea. From a mechanical standpoint, terrible idea, because if you had, they're called bogies. I think they were called bogies in the Tiger at least. If you had one go out, one of those wheels, you'd have to take the one in front of it off to get the one behind it, and it sucked. But, just another example of how engineers and mechanics don't really get along. That was a good question.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I hate engineers.
Screw you. Let's see. Hey, do you have any good plate carriers for kids? By Flaley Airsoft. Flaley Airsoft. Any recommendations? Oof, that's a really tough one.
JPCs are very small.
JPCs are tiny.
JPCs are good.
And really, because they're like with a cummerbund, right? They have a set amount of fabric, so you can only overlap them and tighten them so far. And me being like having a medium-sized body, they already run a little bit big sometimes, and so I have to really overlap them pretty well, and it works. And actually, also another thing is that if you want your plate carrier to fit correctly, run either real or fake sappy plates. They make the little foam ones. They make.
Or you can just make them out of cardboard, like me and Nick did.
Yeah, I mean, you can make them out of cardboard, but honestly, I've tried that, and I think the fake sappies much better.
Those are more ideal, but if you don't want to spend the money, just make them out of cardboard. Yeah. It's a fun little project. Yeah,
but that's how the plate carrier is supposed to fit, and so then once you establish that, tightening it and making it fit correctly is a lot easier. But yeah, like with JPCs, they don't have those side panels; they're just straps. So pulling those and tightening them, you can get to really snug your body. As far as height goes, you can only adjust the shoulder straps so much. You might just have to grow into it at that point. But I think a JPC is probably a great idea because they will pretty much always fit you.
They also, if I recall from memory correctly, Evic is selling plate carriers that actually are specifically designed for like smaller profile people or children per se. So you might want to look on evic.com and check them out. Airsoft GI might have some too. I haven't looked on there, but I know I saw some on Evic, and they're specifically designed for like children or kids with like a really small frame. And me and Nick have this problem too because we have really small torsos. We're not very big people. So we often, a lot of times too, is what you end up doing is just modifying them a little bit. So it's like, this isn't like in the criteria of how you adjust the plate carrier. Like, oh, you just bungee this or you tighten it from here. Or you could just, so what me and Nick end up doing is like take some modifying straps and then just cinch things closer together and tighten it down, like modify them ourselves. Zip ties.
Yeah, zip ties work wonders for small people.
So you really might even just have to like manually, personally modify your own plate carrier from something that would be non-factory configuration, if that makes sense. And that works well too.
Things are always, when you're younger, things are always never going to fit you correctly. Growing up, always, my shoes were always a little bit too big, or my belts never fit. I mean, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Part of being younger.
Yeah.
Because I'm 24 and things don't fit me.
All right. We got some good questions rolling in here. Let's see. Let's see. Any recommendation? Yeah. Golden_cast asks, have you ever used miniature airsoft-sized paintballs in your guns? No. Now,
I don't think so.
That was a thing for a little bit. I remember seeing it on YouTube, and it was
for like a year.
It was a big thing. It was super like, oh, can you believe this? Like they're making paintball airsoft BBs, and that's the one big thing that airsoft doesn't have over paintball. Airsoft beats paintball pretty much in every other regard in terms of like realism.
But marking people, you can't really do.
You can't. It doesn't beat it in marking. So, someone came out with these paint BBs, and they're just like, oh look, they explode, and they're really cool. But the problem is, they didn't work well. And what happened a lot of the time is they would explode in the barrel when the nozzle, blasted that air onto the BB, and they'd explode, and that just is a horror.
There's a lot higher pressures and smaller tolerances involved with BBs, and so that's why those paint BBs really didn't work.
And then you also need to make something that small that can like burst, like whatever film or whatever coating you had to use in that thing. It had to be so fragile, like you said, it would just like burst going down the barrel, or it would burst in flight, or you couldn't get good tolerances on it, or the weight, because it's liquid inside, presumably, is not evenly distributed, because it's like the water will pool at the lowest points. It'll make the BB do weird things when it's flying down the air, through the air. So I've never used those. I've seen them, and I've never seen them used, but I've seen them online, and no, I don't think I'll ever use them either. Maybe someday.
That's something that just is not going away. People trying to assimilate paintball into airsoft. Like, I was a paintballer before I went to airsoft, and honestly, I just dumped everything and just went to airsoft. And
more expensive too, isn't it?
Yeah, paintball is much more expensive. I mean, I would go from, if you're buying, it depends, your mileage may vary depending on what you want. But when I would go to a paintball game and we did competitive woods ball, I would spend $80 on good paint, $20 on air, $20 on admission. Like you're approaching $120 a lot of times, and that doesn't even count food and anything else that you're buying while you're out there. Paintball guns require a lot more maintenance. That's not to say airsoft guns don't break, because they do. Don't let anyone tell you they don't, especially scars. But
apparently my LCT.
Yeah, but I think overall paintball guns require a lot more preventative maintenance, and that's because they all have to do with either HPA or CO2 tanks. So you have to get those recertified. Now, if you play with HPA setups in airsoft, you have to do that. That kind of sucks. Also, you run into the problem of sometimes they require a diving license to get tanks to refill your air from, or they charge you every time. You have to replace lots of seals and paintball guns that will go dry, and lubricants and all kinds of things. So, yeah, I would say airsoft is just a lot more cheap to get into.
Yeah, I think so. Like you just mentioned everything. Also, don't forget, like trying to fly on a plane with those things if you want to fly across the country or whatever. Not going to happen.
Yeah. Now, paintball masks. A lot of paintball masks are really, really good. So, like dye paintball masks, you can, from a full face protection standpoint, you can't beat them. I prefer to wear Oakley's with a separate lower face pro. But yeah, for full face pro, they're probably one of the best implications. I might anger a lot of speed softers with this though, because they definitely like their paintball airsoft hybrid BS application guns. But
exactly. What was that one question you said you had, Daniel, that was going to cause debate? Or whatever?
Okay. So I wouldn't say it's debate, but it's a really good topic to discuss. So Ray Woosh asks, is airsoft rising?
Ooh, you mean like getting bigger in terms of
the sport overall?
Yes, I think it is, definitely.
I think it is, but I think it's definitely seen some ups and downs in the last few years.
Yes, I think it has. So let's talk about this in terms of like how it's been growing, or how it's been affected, or what's been going on with it recently. Yeah.
So historically, we rode the wave from when it first started and got popular, I would say. Like in the early 2000s.
That's when it was still in its adolescence. That was right before it started to like blow up. Like I'd say it blew up right around 2014, because we started doing the thing in 2012. Back in 2012, I started playing in 2011. They had like fields you could go to, and everyone did like a lot of backyard stuff, but a lot of it was still young. Like a lot of the stuff you have today did not exist back then. Like Polar Stars like weren't a thing. Like I think some people had them. I don't know when they started, but I remember, Nick, you would see somebody deviate every now and then. They're like, oh, what's that he's using? And no one knew what that was. Everyone was like so fascinated by it.
To us, the whole HPA system thing was new. Yeah. Like I think that was at the time more of a paintball thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was what.
Well, and that's an implication that came from paintball that really helped airsoft.
Yeah.
So
depends on who you ask.
That's true.
That's not one. That's one we're probably not going to debate.
Yeah.
So in terms of growing, it has definitely grown from like when it first got it into its conception versus when it's gone today. I mean, like look at what we've been getting recently. I mean, like Overwatch 3 has an actual military grade helicopter flying people around, shooting people at the ground. Like, come on. Like, how cool is that? And now I see
social media plays the biggest part.
The social media is huge. I mean, social media on Instagram, YouTube has unquestionably grown this thing exponentially. I mean, look, Jet Desert Fox even got to play on a battleship, or like some sort of giant.
It was an aircraft carrier.
An aircraft carrier.
I remember that one.
Was it decommissioned, or was it like still? I don't know what it was.
It was decommissioned. Yeah.
And it was just like you couldn't do this like several years ago, and now they like let us play at military facilities like Camp Shelby, like with American Milsons.
We played at Army training facilities, disaster prevention facilities.
That was Iron Horse, yeah.
There's aircraft carriers that you're allowed to play in. National parks, like all kinds of different.
Glock finally caved and said, "Okay, we'll make an airsoft training pistol," because they finally realized, or they're losing money and they want to make more money. I don't know what the answer is, but they said,
"Is it a good pistol?" We won't debate that either, but
no. But they finally decided they're like, "We'll make an airsoft pistol." So like, the big companies like Glock are recognizing now. Okay, let's make some airsoft training.
So that was a little bit of kind of a planned venture. Now, we don't know this for certain because there's no obvious evidence backing it up, but we can look at the way that they chased branding for Glock all over the place and pretty much shut down anyone that was trying to make a Glock handgun and airsoft. And then conveniently, once they'd all been wiped out, Umarex kind of stepped up and was like, "Oh, I'm going to make a Glock licensed airsoft gun now." So I think they were kind of clearing the way so that they could release their own brand. Yeah. Now I love Glock as a real firearm application, but like when it comes to trademark issues, I really don't think any other company has been as anal with licensing as they have. It's kind of ridiculous from this point. But EOTech, yeah. Glock, and Colt are probably the big three that have
EOTech literally made people stop making reproductions because they were like, no, you can't do this. Glock at least would like let people like for a time, like Tokyo Marui make some, and then I think like the Timberwolf would come out, which was like basically a Glock variant, and Glock was like, okay, fine, whatever. We'll just
but if you know where to go, you can get all of these things.
Yeah, EOTech is just like, no, I will not let you make reproduction stuff.
Yeah,
so you
the
have to
airsoft black market.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so in terms of growing, I think one of the biggest problems we face now as the airsoft community is like a lot of these. I think me personally, a lot of these cheater videos that come out are very damaging to the community overall. Now, I will say, I want to put a caveat next to this. I think it's important that you expose cheaters or you say, hey, look, this guy's cheating, or you shouldn't be doing that, because it's a big problem we face in airsoft.
Or the airsoft fight videos are another one.
Yeah,
it's like when the uploader puts it up, you have to put yourself in their mentality. Like, do you think they're uploading it for views with a clickbaity title and what is that called? Capture art at the front of the video.
Yeah.
That says like, do I want views or am I trying to expose this person and say don't do this?
Yeah.
I would say that most of the time it's views.
It's 99% of the time that's the case, and I think that's really damaging because now because they sell, a lot of people are interested in like the shock and awe type of thing. And unfortunately, what you see now is like a huge market of like these cheater videos or cheater exposed videos. And
it's like an airsoft tabloid.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the time it's like, okay, these are highly justified and maybe like make a public service announcement like saying don't be like this person or whatever. But a lot of the time it's just like cheater exposed and they only do it specifically for views. And I think overall it has a big detrimental problem to the community because then other people are trying to come into the sport going like, oh, look, this is only cheaters. And like, which is not the case at all, because cheating, in my experience, is a very fringe thing. It doesn't happen all the time. Sure, it does happen.
And a lot of times people think it's happening when it's actually not.
Yes, and that's a big thing too, and I can't stand that. Like, people a lot of time will just shoot in someone's general direction, and they'll go, I hit that guy. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't think you did, because I can see it a lot. And maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But a lot of the times you really didn't, because these guns don't perform like real firearms.
And I would say the majority of airsofters will also call a hit, for example, even though they don't know if they got hit or not.
Yeah, exactly. So what they're doing is they're cherry picking a lot of the stuff that happens for views. They're making the problem more exorbitant than it needs to be. Or maybe the other thing too is they didn't feel the shot. That's another thing that happens a lot, because you're wearing all this gear a lot of the time. They get hit in the side. And like a lot of snipers I know this, but they know it sells and they know people will watch it, so they just kind of exploit it. And I think that's a big problem for people that want to come into the sport and they go, I don't want to get involved. It just seems like, no, everyone's cheating and nobody's having fun, but that's not the case at all. So that's just my 2 cents on it personally.
Yeah, I think I have a lot more respect for people that when they upload a video and they do decide to like do an exposed cheater segment, it's kind of incorporated into their gameplay. They just show it chronologically, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy is not calling."
That seems like
move on, because that's what happens in an airsoft game. If that's not your entire focus, you move on.
Yeah,
and
that's just my 2 cents on it. But yeah, that's very important to note. I got a good one for Nick here. I think we had this person a few moments ago. Golden_Cass asks, "What are the upsides to having a Crown Vic that may be used as a cop car during events?" This is a good one for you.
We did use the Crown Vic. It's my personal car. We did. What's the word? Maybe upfit that for, I think it was Chechen Collapse as a police car. And yeah, we put it back to its old glory. That was a lot of fun. There was also a Charger at that event. That was Milsim West, and that was, the factions with the Russians and the civilians and the police and all. That was cool to be able to, at least from my perspective, to add to the atmosphere of the game especially an immersive gameplay like that, by actually bringing something other than, say, I don't know, just a random car that this is a taxi. Oh, this is a cop car. Well, I brought a police car. And we had lights and sirens and PAs and markings. And I mean, I think personally, me and the guy who brought the Charger, who actually was a cop, it was just cool to be able to add to the atmosphere of the game. Also, as a disclaimer, all those blue lights and sirens are not permanently mounted on that car, because that is illegal.
And also, you have to be aware of what could happen to your property at an airsoft game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I lost some paint at that game. I never repainted the car after that, but there's a lot of scratch marks on the hoods from gun barrels being rested on it. Like I said, I had paint chipped. So like, if you're gonna bring, and this isn't just for bringing a cop car to a game, if you bring any kind of vehicle into an event, it's gonna get shot, and you're gonna have body damage to it. So just, if you do that, expect damage to happen, and don't get upset when it does, because you signed up for it. But yeah, it was really cool to be able to do that. And if you do get the chance and the field allows it, definitely try to do that. It really adds to the atmosphere of the event. And it was a lot of fun.
Yep. And then another thing is that if you are participating and it's not your car, I would say, this is just my perspective. If I rolled up to Nick's car or someone else's random car that's in the gameplay, I don't think I'm going to go be using it as cover or even putting my barrel and stuff on it, or just my rail or something, because I know it's going to scratch the car. I think it's common sense and consideration that has to be taken into play. Some people are going to be super hardcore Milson and be like, oh, it's hard covered or whatever, which actually vehicles are not hard covered. But
yeah, it's not. All the NATO guys who took cover in the car when the Russians jumped the NATO patrol and brought into town, they would have. And to be fair, I would have been dead. Yeah. I mean, cop cars, contrary to common opinion, police cars are not bulletproof. Some of them have ballistic panels in the door, but it's sheet metal. So there's that. Don't take cover for it for realism.
It goes right through like butter.
Yeah, it does. It's just sheet metal and plastic.
22 long rifle through 38 special through 7.62 by 39.
The only real safe place to hide behind any type of vehicle, and if we're talking in terms of real fire, is the engine block, and maybe the rear wheel.
Yeah. So the things that I personally tested that stopped a wide range of calibers were brake calibers, the engine block, and multiple spaced layers. And then this is from an armor nerd's perspective. When you look at tanks and spaced armor, if you're shooting, for example, if you have two doors like this and they're spaced, if you shoot through one door, there's a good chance that the second door is going to stop it, because you've decreased the velocity over that span of 4 feet before it hits the next door. But outside of that, if you have everything closed and compacted, it's going to go straight through. So
pretty much.
So somehow we got to shooting cars with real guns. But yes, using the squad car in the game was fun. If there was one thing I would have changed, I would have put the prisoner cage in it, so that certain people we arrested were not banging their head on the steering wheel. I also don't know why we put that guy in the front seat.
Wait, so you captured someone and you put him in the front seat of the car?
I never heard this.
You put him in the driver's seat.
We arrested him and we put him in the front seat, and the guys, the cops who were in the back, were supposed to be watching him. And I turned away and went to go take a report or whatnot. And the car starts honking and run over, and he is, he's in the passenger seat, leaning over, slamming his head on the steering wheel, screaming, and just we probably, he spent a long time in jail. He was one of our repeat offenders. I think we arrested him 5 times within the first hour of gameplay. He was one of the guys who was like, you know what I should do? I should throw grenades at everybody for no reason at all. He started 90% of all the incidents we responded to in that game, which is really fun. But if you do bring a cop car to a game, have a prisoner cage in it, and then your steering wheel won't get beaten up. Okay, that's all I got.
The front seat. Why don't you just let him drive it?
The level of ridiculousness that happens in Milsom West, and it's perfectly realistic because on a call, you're probably going to arrest someone that's going to just be a total nuisance.
He was a nuisance.
Yeah.
All right, we have time for about one more question. Daniel, did you have one more written off that we wanted to answer, or?
Well, it was another just pretty short question. Let me look at his name real quick. But Texas Man asks, Matt, what kind of sling do you use in your Scar L?
Okay. So the sling I used for a while, and I don't like slings all that much. Unless you're playing CQB or you're playing at like a Milsim event that has like these large structures and stuff, and you'll be drawing a sidearm on occasion, I don't use slings. I just hold the gun, and that's about it. Like everyone, I get a lot of people telling me like you should always have a sling on your gun, always run a 2-point, never run a 1-point, blah blah blah. I don't use them. I just don't. It's only ever come up like once, like where I've not had a sling. I go, oh crap, I should probably sling this. The advantage of having a sling is you can carry stuff with it, so if you have like an objective you need to handle or carry, you can do that too. But if you just, most of the time, just help out with one hand or get somebody else to do it. Especially that happens at Milsim events. In Milsim events, you should be wearing a sling. But anyway, back to my point. If you're running a sling, make it, it's either a 2-point or 1-point. What do you... I
would say 2 points.
I actually like 1 points for CQB. I understand why people like 2 points, and a lot of the real steel community uses 2-point slings, but the 1 points are super easy. They don't get in the way at all.
They're convenient.
You just drop them. Yeah.
It depends on the platform.
Yeah.
So like with my bullpup, I use it's the bullpup. It's the Tavor 21.
Yeah.
Because it's short and it's weighted in the back. It's balanced towards the rear.
The 1-point sling works really, really well. And the way it hangs at your side when you go to draw your sidearm and stuff, it stays out of the way, and that's the problem with a lot of the 1-point sling applications. The gun will be dangling in front of you, and that you really need to be watching tactical videos that are put out by like T-Rex Arms and Grand Thumb and all those the firearms gods, because they tell you how to run these firearms in all kinds of different conditions and whatnot. But the 2-point slings from a tactical perspective are kind of the go-to right now. And it's changed over the last 10 years. I remember originally people from ever since whenever always used 2-point slings. And then it went to 1-point slings for tactical applications. And then they were kind of arguing about 2-point and 1-point slings. And then 3-point slings came out, which are confusing.
Those are awful.
And now it's back to 2-point slings. The Slingster, that one works really well. And that's a 2-point sling. But the problem that people were facing with 2-point slings was tightening them to their body to hold them.
Now you can do that quick adjustment.
But now with the Slingster, you just pull it tight and it holds to your body.
That's
I'm still on a waiting list for that.
Everyone's doing that now. Haley Strategic is doing that with their slings. The Vickers sling is doing that. What's the other company? Oh, I see their sling. I can't name the company. It's like Faro Concepts. There's their sling.
Oh, Faro Concepts.
Yeah.
I like a lot of Faro Concepts.
Those are like real high-end slings. But okay, sorry to answer the original question. I'm using a Condor Cobra sling because again, like I was getting into it. Condor Gear is a really good equipment brand to get into, like a good entry-level equipment brand. And I was like, I need a sling. Let me try this. And I've used it. And I've literally not bought another sling because I was like, it works, it's fine, I have no reason to change it. Now for my real rifle I run a Haley Strategic sling, but for airsoft I'm just like, this Cobra sling works perfectly fine. It's not the highest quality sling and there are better ones on the market, but it works, it's fine. I don't use it insanely often, so I see no purpose to buy another one. So it's a Condor Cobra sling. It's a single point Cobra sling. Okay. Works well, yeah. All right, I think that'll about wrap it up. Someone asked us, I think Golden Cast, how is Snoopy? As far as I know, he's doing good. We haven't talked in a little while. He's Inept Tactics on Instagram now, so he changed his Instagram handle, but he's doing well. Still Snoopy doing Snoopy things, so if you want to check him out, he's still on Instagram.
I think he just still uploads regular gameplay as far as that's Instagram gameplay, as far as I know. But yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while either. I think it's just part of us not being really as involved as we'd like to be with all the busy stuff that we've been doing with college and
once we get like more of a stable position, we can get to playing a lot more. I'm gonna see if I can actually go to Joe, because Joe is actually living closer to me now, so maybe be able to go to some events and gameplay with him soon here. But I think that'll about wrap it up.
Perspective on that, we're all three of us are in different time zones right now. So
that's a really good point.
Well, Joe's in the same time zone as Matt, right?
Well, I mean, the
South
three of
Carolina.
us.
The three of us
are
are
here
streaming,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. So.
You're still in Florida. I'm in Florida. Daniel's in Alaska, and me and Nick are in different time zones. So that's a fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that'll about wrap things up for this live stream. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. We're gonna try to do these like a bi-weekly thing. We're gonna try to do them like because I got a bunch of gameplay uploaded, but not bi-weekly. I'm sorry. Every other week. Sorry, I didn't mean to say bi-weekly. We're gonna try to do these every other week between gameplay videos and just regular uploads because I have a whole bunch.
We heard you. Yeah, we heard you. Everyone wants content.
Yeah, everyone wants content. I've got the content made. It's in queue.
Yeah.
It's up on the channel now. It's just waiting. I want to try to space it out so because I can't edit. I don't have any of my editing equipment here at college, and I just don't have time. Engineering is like you just don't have time to sleep. It's like a lot of times you have to choose between eating and sleeping when you're engineering, and I'm just like, okay, I'll sleep today or I'll eat today, and I'll like finish
eating. Always eat.
Yeah.
Honestly, it took a lot of planning to get all of us together now at one time.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard, but we want to try to get you guys as much content as we can while we still got this busy schedule going on. So we got gameplay every other week, and then between every other week, we're going to be doing these live streams. We're going to try to get some more guests on for you guys. We're going to be answering. We're going to do same system. Maybe if we get more people interested in, we can switch all to live stream questions. But for now, we're doing like a hybrid of like questions that have been asked of us in the past and live stream questions. But hopefully y'all enjoyed. We had a lot of fun doing this, and again, we'll be doing this. We're gonna try to. We're nothing set in stone yet. Every other week. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. So take care.
Yeah.